Hey, it's Haley, and this is The Real MP3s. I think I've made it pretty clear that I have plenty of room for embarrassing stories on this podcast, yes? Well, let me tell you about that one job interview that I went to. My dream job, might I add. I failed this interview so badly. It was the most embarrassed I think I've ever been in my life. But just keep listening because there is a silver lining at the end of this. Maybe you'll see it coming, maybe you won't. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy. So can I just tell you about that one time I had a job interview that was so terrible. It was so embarrassing. I fell flat on my face. It was so embarrassing to the point where I thought about getting up and walking out of the interview after the first question because I was so embarrassed before it even started. It was miserable, but there is a happy ending to this. I'll tell you about that here in a minute. My name is Haley. This is The Real MP3s, and this is where we talk about our favorite bands and artists and meeting our favorite bands and artists, and we love them even more after finding out how cool they are in person, because they're just like us. They're all just like us. All positive stories. I welcome your stories at HaleySt.John.com/podcast or TheRealMP3s.com. Send those stories my way. Like I said, I have a lot of guests lined up too, and I'm excited. Because I don't want to just sit here and share all my stories. I encourage your stories too, because I love hearing about your experiences, and music fans are just such a passionate group of people, right? And when we get lucky enough to meet our favorite bands and artists, then it just brings us closer to them in a much different light. So I encourage your stories, HaleySt.John.com/podcast. This podcast came about because I've been in the music industry for a very long time, and I have so many stories to share. And this even goes beyond my radio years. I've been in radio almost 20 damn years. Isn't that insane? I feel ancient saying that, but even before that, my first concert was when I was a year and a half old. I was 18 months old, literally, when I went to my first concert, and I never stopped. So I have a lot of music experiences. Music is quite literally my life. So it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. Like I was destined to be in radio or some form of music industry. Like it's in my blood, and it never stopped. So therefore, I have a ton of stories to share, and I encourage you to share as well. And they're not all great stories. Some of them are doozies. Like I said, I'm not talking any shit on this podcast. I made myself that promise when I started this. I said, I'm not talking shit about nobody. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about embarrassing stories. And I am going to show my ass in this episode, because my most embarrassing job interview that I have ever done, when I moved from North Dakota to Nashville in 2011. It was October of 2011 when I made the move. So you can't say that, hey, I'm that person that is now making Nashville's population out of control and traffic sucks because of people like you. I said, yeah, but that was before the boom, okay? I was here before everybody else, or before it got crazy. So I moved here in 2011, and I wanted some kind of gig in radio. My main background at the time was country radio, and I had done like top 40, I'd done rock, but it was all like pre-recorded. It was all voice tracked on the top 40 and the rock stations. So mainly my line of work was country radio, and I loved it. And that's what I listened to. And I was a country listener, solid, straight through and through, dedicated for a very long time. So I thought my line of work would be in country radio. I could probably pull off country radio right now. It would take some major adjusting, because right now I do 3 to 7 Monday through Friday at a rock station, active rock station. And that was hard to transition into. And going from rock to country, I feel like it's two completely different fan bases. And I feel like it's two completely different worlds, two completely different genres. But really, like, at the end of the day, radio's radio. You probably figure it out, because radio is same bullshit all the time. More about that later. But when I came here, I was applying at all these like AM stations. I went as far as like damn Lewisburg to apply at that like classic country station. I just thought like that was in my wheelhouse. But then of course, I'm applying for like WSIX stations that I had absolutely no business applying at. But I had a dream, I wanted to do my thing. I wanted to expand and I wanted to grow. So let's see what happens. Also very much playing it safe too, though, because in Nashville, there's 1,000 different country stations, but it's also very eclectic. It's a perfectly functional town too. So like when there are different genres of stations, people are like, oh, I thought it was a cut. It's not. Okay. There's all kinds of different music in Nashville. But when I was applying, I remember when I came across these different stations and I'm like, okay, hip hop, absolutely not. I will get eaten alive because I don't listen to that shit. First of all, no Spanish speaking stations, none of that. I'm like, all right, I guess here goes nothing. I came across this rock website, this rock radio website. And at the top of it, it was this man, it was this man's face, and he was screaming and his eyeballs were X'd out. And it was just like a black and red, just kind of station. It was just one of those like, ooh, nope, I'm not applying there. So I kept scrolling and I'm like, I am not that person. I'm not applying at that radio station. Fast forward, about a year goes by. Dude, they called Nashville a 10-year town for a reason. I was lucky to even land an interview after 10 months. 10 months. I got an interview. Guess what station it was with? The one with the X'd out eyeballs on the like, oh my God, what is this? Dude, I found this job on like an NTSU message board. It wasn't even like Craigslist was a thing back then. It wasn't on Indeed. It wasn't on anything like that. And they were looking for a part-time overnight person. And I'm like, I'll do it. So I go in for the interview and it is so many degrees of people. Like, okay, the receptionist is going to hook you up with this person, and this person's going to hook you up with this person, and this person's going to hook you up with the program director. I'm like, God, this is complex. I'm like, this is kind of a big deal. Okay, now I'm getting nervous. I sent my air checks in and I sent my resume in and landed an interview. So here goes nothing, I guess. I show up to the station and I go into the reception area and the receptionist said, okay, just go up the stairs and the assistant program director will meet you up there. Well, on each side of the building, there are staircases on the outside. And I parked kind of in the middle of the building. Just outside of the reception area, there is around the corner said set of stairs. I was walking around like Alice in Wonderland. I didn't know which, so I'm like, okay, let me just look around the building. I go the wrong direction and I go up the other flight of stairs on the opposite end of the building. Just not think when you're nervous and when you're new to this, I'd never been here in my life. So I had no idea. So I just went up the opposite staircase for whatever reason. I wasn't thinking. And I walk up the stairs and I'm looking in and there's nobody there. It had to be 10 or 15 minutes. I was standing up there looking like, God, assistant program director is pretty damn slow because I'm not even seeing him. Here at the very end of the building, you could see all the way down the hallway and you could see through the other door on the other side of the building. Two people up there just freaking tapping their feet, waiting for me. I'm like, oh my God, there are two staircases. So I frantically go down there. I'm already so embarrassed. I went up the wrong staircase on the opposite side of the building, which is not even anywhere near the reception. So I go up the right set of stairs and I'm running up there and I'm already just like nervous as shit. And I'm like, I already fucked this up. This is so embarrassing. Hi, Sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. All right. So we go in, and the PD at the time, he was lounging back with his feet propped up on the desk. He had a Yorkshire Terrier sitting on his desk. He's like, hey, what's up? Never mind him. That's Sam. I'm like, what is this? Here I thought this was going to be so formal, right? Because all these people connecting me with the PD, and it was just casual. Like I walked into his damn living room or something. And I sat down, still mortified by the staircase incident. Like, all right, let's see how this goes. First question he asked me. He said, I see you've been in radio a little while at your previous place. He's like, what program did you use? For the life of me, I could not remember what the name of our program that we used at my station in North Dakota. The only station I've ever worked at, the only program I've ever used, and my brain farted and I couldn't figure out the name of it. So I'm sitting there just in shock, fucking sweating. And finally, I'm just like, I don't think I remember off the top of my head. He said, well, it's pretty important that you know that. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, it's been real. I'm so sorry that I wasted your time. This is the worst interview I've ever done. I could not believe I'm here. I wanted to walk out so badly and just walk out crying because I'm like, this is the most embarrassed I think I've ever been. And especially in this caliber of a station, going from Jamestown, North Dakota to Nashville, Tennessee, the market jump. You know what I mean? I was already way intimidated by this. So I'm like, I stayed. So glad I stayed. Because after that, he just said, any questions for me? Yeah, I have a whole bunch of them for you. After that, I blacked out. I can't tell you anything that happened during that interview other than the staircase and the Yorkshire Terrier. That's it. But he said, well, we're not hiring right now, but we do need a girl on the air because apparently there wasn't a single female on the air, which is weird because I feel like radio is such a dude-dominated industry, but also rock is a very dude-dominated industry. So I was surprised that they didn't have any women on the air, but it was just all dudes that they had on the air. And I said, okay, well, it'd be cool to be the only girl, you know? So I said, okay, fine. Why the fuck am I here? You know? So I said, okay, well, I'm still interested. So what do you want me to do? And he said, well, I want you to keep in touch with me because in the next few weeks, we're hoping to have something open up for a part-time weekend. I'm like, cool. And I emailed him every single week with absolutely nothing. And I know I had those emails somewhere. I'm just emailing him just out of the blue. Random. At first, I'm like, hey, thanks so much for your time. Do you need anything more from me? Do you need a different air check? Do you want one of my country air checks? And he said, no, definitely don't send me any country air checks. I'm like, shit, word, okay. So after a while, for a couple of weeks, it's normal. And then after a while, it's like, so I'm still alive. Just want you to know I still exist. Please hire me. And at this point, I'm like, this was such a waste of time. This was such a waste of time. I embarrassed the hell out of myself. I can't even follow directions on going up the staircase. I thought this isn't going to work out. So I'm looking for things to say to this guy, like after one final shot, because 6 weeks had gone by of me emailing this guy, just letting him know I still exist. And finally, I said, Aerosmith is coming to town. They were going to be at Bridgestone Arena. This was like end of December of whatever year that was, 2012. And I said, okay, well, let's start to maybe reach out to him with some substance rather than just, hi, I still exist, So I thought, okay, let me say, when can I listen so I can win Aerosmith tickets? And he responded back and said, yeah, we're giving away Aerosmith tickets. You want a pair? By the way, we have a night shift opening in a couple weeks if you want to take it. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I got Aerosmith tickets and a job. I still have that email. And I went and saw Aerosmith, and it was amazing. And I started on the air like 3 weeks after that. So you want to know something? That was the worst interview I've ever done. That was the worst interview I've ever done. But might I tell you, that's the radio station I've been working at for over 13 years now. Do not take job interview advice from me. Do not take job interview advice from me. But if there's anything to be said about this, don't overthink interviews, because I landed flat on my ass during that interview and I still got the job. They weren't even hiring, and I showed my ass during the interview and they still hired me. So if there's anything I've learned, don't overthink job interviews. Be yourself. Clearly they were looking for somebody ditzy that had a hard time following directions. Well, I'm your girl, because I've been working there 13 years now. The station that I looked at their website, and there was a man with blacked out eyeballs, crossed out eyeballs. It looked like he was dying. Like, it looked like he was in pain. And I'm like, nope. Nope. And yeah, shoot for the moon when you look for jobs, because I never thought in a million years they would ever hire me, and now here I am 13 years later, on air afternoon drive, digital social media coordinator and assistant program director. So yeah, it's wild, but that was the worst interview I've ever done. It will never ever get worse than that. But here I am after all this time. It's so wild. It turns out that the worst and most embarrassing moment in general that I have ever done professionally landed me a gig somehow. It's freaking crazy. So yeah, whenever I see people saying during job interviews, like, oh, make sure you say this and not that, because you don't want them to think this, not that. I'm like, I waited up the wrong flight of stairs for 15 minutes. And I couldn't remember anything about my last radio station, and they still hired me. Which I did do overnights, one night a week. It was a Saturday night at midnight going into Sunday morning at 6 a.m. The worst shift possible. The absolute worst shift possible. But my feet were in the door, and I was so happy to be there. So happy to be there. I probably couldn't even name 3 Stone Temple Pilots songs when I started working there. But you know what? I grew into it, and I really can't imagine doing myself anything else besides music, radio, rock music especially. But we all start somewhere. I was 21 when I did that interview. It's insane just how much you learn from it, you grow from it. And plus, it makes a funny damn story afterwards. I've learned that, quirks are what make you stand out, I guess. So I thought I'd share my awful interview story and to not overthink it. And at the end of the day, whatever is there for you, and if it's meant for you, it's going to happen no matter what you say. Unfollow those people on TikTok that say, do this, not that. It's like a first date, It's like, God, I used to follow all those dating coach bitches on YouTube saying like, okay, what you need to do when he asks you this, say this. And when he says this, do this, not this. And it's like, okay, that works to an extent, Mr. Professional, but at the end of the day, I'm not saying things that I would typically say. I'm not doing things I would typically do. So therefore, I'm not being myself. And who the hell are they hiring, or who the hell are they dating? You know, it's like the exact same thing. It's a first impression. Do I want to move forward with this person based on what they're saying, what they're doing, their experience, I guess. But no, I unfollow all of them. Whatever's meant for you is gonna happen the way it happens. So that's my story. My interview from hell actually turned out to be one of my biggest career accomplishments of my life. Still pretty proud of it. Still going strong. Damn, 13 years. I basically grew up at that radio station. It's insane. Hey, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Stories welcome at HaleySt.John.com/podcast or therealmp3s.com. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.